Audience advisory. This episode includes discussions of sexual assault, trauma, and mental health. Support for managing difficult feelings around these topics is available from 1-800-RESPECT, 1-800-737-732, or Lifeline on 131114.
美和ちゃんは今日でジャムを卒業します。これからは一人の新人女優として頑張っていきますので、みんなも応援してください。あなた誰なの？あなた誰なの？
はい、5秒前。4、3、2。
Hello and welcome to the periodic table of awesome. My name is Dion and tonight I am joined by Jill and Quinny and the most perfect of perfect Mina-san. Oh, so Mina-san. Which one is it?
誰なの？
どうして?
Karima-san?
Hello to them and hello to everyone in the chat and hello to Casper. There you are. Hello, it's Anime. Yes, that's right. We're midway through Anime.
Oh, we're more than midway, but you know we're living it and loving it and going deep into the anime goodness
into the anime goodness. Yes, it's anime. And last week, because we did the Rose of Versailles, which was the new one of the old school one, and now we're going to my pick for this month's anime. I'm going to come right out and say that I went down a list of anime that I saw. I was like, oh, this one was really Satoshi Kon. Oh, I've never seen that one. I'm going to pick that one. Yay, that's my pick. And now. Boy, like, perhaps, mayhap I should have read just anything about the. I know, right? It's just a casual glance across what was going on, but also perfect. Like, it's anime. This is what you're getting from this.
Look, this is a classic piece of cinema, and I'm glad that you've watched it, Dion. And Quinny, I'm glad to hear that you have also watched it, thinking you had seen it before.
No, well, and if I had watched it in such a way that I clearly wasn't paying enough attention to it. Like there were parts of it that I'm like, fuck, this is really familiar. Like. Right. And I was thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure I must have watched this in some capacity at some point, but had no fucking clue what I was watching until you watch it as an adult with the full fucking awareness. Because this came out in 1997, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a lot going on in that time, and it was before the turn of the millennium. There you go. It's pre-millennials.
I thought about it. I reckon I would have seen this as a part of the University of Tasmania Anime Society.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're in a uni anime club.
I was 100% in a uni anime club.
Were you the president of such club or the treasurer of such club or the person that they don't allow anymore into such clubs?
Oh, they don't allow me, that's for sure. But the president was our good friend Bruce Moyle, which is how I met Bruce. So Bruce was running the UTAS Anime Society, and I'm pretty sure that at some point in time during the first couple of years of uni, he got to do a screening of Perfect Blue. Now, whether it was with whether it was working with Madman? No. I'm not even sure whether was Madman around in 97?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I was like, or he may have, because like this is sort of from the period where I was getting anime from my friend who was getting it from the UK.
Right. Okay.
He was getting VHS tapes with the old from Manga Entertainment.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and this was definitely. Oh, okay. So, thank you, Casper. Founded 4th of August, 1996. So, who knows? Maybe we did get it through them. But yeah, like that was my experience of anime. It was like trading VHS tapes. Fuck, I'm
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, come on, like.
I did have anime on VHS. This is the moment where I confess that I ran an anime club in my hometown.
Perfect.
Oh, your weeb powers are strong.
Yeah,
Jill.
so after I did like my high school exchange to Japan, like a few years after that, like there was, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get together with the society that ran the exchange program and say, what if we put together like a youth group and we can have like anime meetups and get more people interested in doing the exchange program? So yeah, I did that back in old Camden.
And did it work? Did you get people interested in the exchange program? Sick.
Yeah, we did. And then we ran a group trip for people out of school as well.
Holy shit, look at you go being an ambassador.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was.
You know, I feel bad now. Like I only had my first experience of anime from good old Sex Before Soccer. in the wildness of, the movies that were supposed to be shown on the, regular channels had finished, and then there was nothing really else on. What's on SBS before they click over to, whatever soccer was there. And I was like, what's Akira? Sure, I'll give that a go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's Unotsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend? No! Holy shit.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that they put that on SBS.
I know, okay? And
oh my God, Casper, that is where I also fell in love with Gamera on SBS.
Yeah. Nice.
But they also had, there was other Liquid Television, there's a bunch of other weird shit on it. Yeah, and
Fuck,
then you switch
I
over to
loved
Rage
SBS in
and
the 90s.
watch Rage when it got to the soccer. I'm like, nope, time for Rage.
Yeah. And all introduced by Des Mangan, the great fucking Des Mangan. The driest motherfucker on the face of the planet. But yeah, anyway, so this is where we're at.
Kids these days, they won't understand.
No,
kids these days.
We're in late 90s anime territory. We're trading tapes, we're finding it through our friends, and we're hearing about these things and going, oh, what's this Perfect Blue film?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did not watch it on original release because in 1997 I was 13 years old. So
I hope you didn't watch it on original release.
Pretty sure I didn't, but I did watch it.
Look, it's an interesting legacy of the film. Like, I mean, as I said, I picked it up because I looked at a list of famous animes that I hadn't seen and picked one off that because I wanted to just go through it, and that's how I got there. Because it was like, look, I remember Satoshi Kon mainly from Paprika, which very heavily influenced the Inception stuff, and then reading more about this one, about how this influenced a whole bunch of creators in Hollywood, from Aronofsky to Madonna. Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, there's some discussion as to whether or not it influenced Aronofsky or whether he just fucking ripped shit off his bolus.
But there's definitely points where they met each other like way before, and there's definitely homage scenes to this, and
but once again, is it an homage or is it a straight fucking ripoff?
Look, if people are just doing AI before AI is around. If you're going to have an issue with that, Quinny, I have this director called Quentin Tarantino you might be interested in.
Okay, fair
enough. Yes, but Perfect Blue, I sat down and I watched it and I was like, well, it's a fascinating psychological drama thriller when you pull it apart and everyone, and I still don't understand why there are so many videos that are like, finally the ending to Perfect Blue explained. I'm like, well, you're not paying attention when you watch the fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
really,
it's just fine.
Sometimes you're just not meant to understand an ending, and sometimes they're left hang on, what's the word I was trying to say? ambiguous.
Yes,
I was going to say,
ambiguous.
I was going to say oblivious. No, like ambiguous, oblivious.
Yeah.
On purpose.
I love a good oblivious ending.
Yeah.
And I think like the reason I think I had such a sort of weird thing with this one is I wouldn't have gotten this back in 97. Like I'm pretty sure like, you know, most of what I'd seen up until that point was the pretty traditional anime stuff. I'd seen Akira, seen Fist of the North Star, seen some Dominion Tank Police and stuff like that. Cyber City Oedo 808. I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was fucking hard weeb for a while there before anyone knew what the fuck a weeb was. And I think all of those were kind of like, yeah, there's cool characters, big hair and shit like this. This is not that at all.
No.
This is like, this could so easily be a live action film.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm actually surprised that nobody has actually attempted to, but I'm also really glad they haven't, because like there's something about this that is really, you know, beautiful the way that it is. It's stunningly made.
Yeah.
Do you want a synopsis? Do you want some kind of indicator as to what the film is about? No, there's not going to be a shit accent.
I'm sure there's no shit accent, because I've also got absolutely no idea what's on the music cue sheet.
I don't know. Is it an idol number?
Just no, I don't have an idol number. You're just going to get the Madam Web theme.
Gonna be Chamu.
Oh, charm. Love charm. Okay. A pop singer gives up her career as an aspiring idol to become an actress, but she slowly goes insane when she starts being stalked by an obsessed fan and what seems to possibly be a ghost of her past or of her past self. That's
it's
a very
oblivious.
short synopsis.
Yeah,
It's
just
oblivious.
leaves it oblivious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucking oblivious, this film. So, to people who you know, have never seen it, I mean, congratulations. I hope you go and watch it after this. I actually really would like everybody. Actually, no.
Can you recommend this to people? It's like, ooh. Sidebar, Judge.
Yeah, okay. I think people would get a lot out of this film if you go and watch it, but go in with your eyes well and truly fucking open.
Yeah, definitely heed the warnings that we gave you at the top of the show, because it's a difficult watch, as well as like an interesting viewing experience in terms of like it's an art house cinema film. It's just in animated form, and I think it does like a very beautiful job of storytelling, and like not necessarily the animation style is like blow your socks off out of this world, but I think the choices that are made throughout the film are very interesting. There's just a little bit of hard content in there.
Yeah. And it, like, I mean, you know, one of the issues like that you sort of see from some anime that comes through is like, oh, it's just a lot of, you know, porn and terrible scenes and assaults and stuff. And it's like, okay, but in this one, it's contextualized in a way that is servicing the narrative, even though it's still there. And it's a little bit more confronting than I was like ready for, even though thankfully Jill gave, you know, us all a broad spectrum kind of like, hey, just be aware there's a lot of this in there. And I was like, oh, okay. And it wasn't so much so that I thought that it was too disturbing. I just felt like in the context of the whole thing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is really hard hitting because it's following the narrative and it's going through more of the responses to trauma and how people are having mental health issues and what that's about, because it's not really about those things. It's about the consequences of those things, which makes it, you know, a really interesting film to watch, like, you know, and to digest. And as you sort of go through, it's like, oh, this is a horrible thing, even though that's one small part of it. There's a whole other narrative that's going along with it. And it's more interesting because you're not quite sure about what is going on through most of the film. And that was, I found that really disturbing. It's like, oh, that's the disturbing nature of it. It's, it's not so much the scenes. It's the fact that it's creating havoc everywhere else it's touching.
Yeah, it really puts you in the protagonist's shoes because like you're as much in the dark as to what's going on as she is. So you think you're following the story, but then you're completely thrown for a loop. And yeah, it's
always asking that narrative question as you go through the whole thing is, who is that person? And is that a real thing? Like a hallucination, trauma, processing of grief and trauma is a big narrative theme that goes through it.
And like for most of the film, you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on. But then there's just like well and truly a moment where you're like, oh fuck, maybe I actually don't know the actual truth.
Maybe I'm not right. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, it's so conflicting because all of the people that kind of get, let's be honest, this has sexual assault, murder, mental health issues, trauma, stalking, a whole bunch of stuff there. But I mean, sometimes you sort of sit there and you're like, yeah, but that person deserved to die. And sort of. And all the while, like as the meta narrative that I love going through is that they're filming a movie about a serial murderer killing a bunch of people. And yet all of this stuff is happening concurrently. And we're focused on one character who's having a breakdown, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, people who have seen some other films, and we mentioned Darren Aronofsky before, if you've seen Black Swan, you have very, very much seen a film that is playing in the same ballpark as this. To the point where like the lead characters are Mima and Nina. And there are shots that are almost replicated. There's an awful lot of very similar sort of themes and ideas and ways of representing it. So if you've seen that, you've got a bit of an idea where it's at. But this, instead of being set in the world of ballet, is set in the sort of dual realm of an idol performer and who has decided that she no longer wants to be an idol performer and is now moving into... Now, is it meant to be a film or a TV drama?
I think it's a TV drama. It's an episodical.
Right. Okay. I was never 100% clear on that.
Yeah.
So what I also, one of the things I would never have understood back in the day, the whole idol culture. Like understanding what the whole thing is of young guys who will go and watch idol performances and
not even young guys.
I was being kind.
Can you explain this just quickly to me more than anyone else listening or watching? It's like, what the hell is an idol performer? And
God, how to even begin to describe idol culture?
And was this going on in that era?
Insane.
Was this happening?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And do you all think that
it is so toxic?
Idol culture is to blame for like Spice Girls and bands like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all just capitalism.
Yeah, it's
capitalism. So, I mean, idol
selling
groups,
beautiful young women.
Idol groups are set up by management corporations in Korea, most popular now, K-pop groups, and they just seem to churn them out. But you have a management group that will put together different performers, and like whoever's the most successful wins the most amount of money. But they're so strict on their stable of stars on what you can do in your private lives, because as an idol you have to be looked at as clean, pure, and absolutely able to like insert that person into your life as like your girlfriend.
Yeah.
So they cannot have any kind of attachments or be seen in public with.
This is the beginning of parasocial relationship building.
Well, 100%. In fact,
100%.
1000%. Let's go even further.
It's
Yes.
literally set up as parasocial relationships. So
Yep.
these people are supposed to be worshipped and idolized to the point of you want to like be them or be with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the joy, and I will say joy, of working with quite a lot of idols here in Australia. So I've done idol festivals in Brisbane. I've also hosted idol events here in Sydney. If you go to something like Smash, you will find that there are idol performances. So to anyone who's been to a supernova or anything like that, you would have seen these large groups of girls in similar costumes that will go up and they'll sing a song, or that they will mime in a lot of cases to a song from
lip sync.
Sorry, thank you. Sorry, my apologies. There are going to be some angry fucking idols at me after this. I'm sorry, everybody's. But yeah, like they will go up, they will do highly choreographed dance numbers and lip sync to these backing tracks, and there'll be thousands of different songs that they choose, but they'll each take their part and they'll lip sync their bit, and then they'll do the choreography, move around, and you will have people in the audience just losing their shit.
Yeah.
Like they have these glow sticks. I know they're not actually called glow sticks. They've got a special name. That they can change the colors of, and
so if your girl is one color, you turn on your wand to be that color, and then you do the little
and there are specifically
and
choreographed.
Do you have choreographed ones? Yeah,
there are calls and responses, so that they'll sing something, you sing something back. And then they know when they've got to rush towards the stage and wave their things at them and then go back. It is a highly controlled parasocial relationship.
Do you feel like any of the helicopter landing zones really don't like this kind of stuff?
No. There are helicopters coming in on idol performances all over the place.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. But this is kind of where this is coming from. So
yeah, it's an interesting exploration, like at that point in time, of what idol culture was like in terms of the fandom, and seeing like how toxic the men can be, because there's a lot of commentary throughout this film of background characters that are making very suggestive comments about their idols, and the language that they use is concerning because it's very possessive.
It goes like it has a subtle like lower like under narrative of obsession, fan compulsion. Like what does that mean? What kinds of fans that are being attracted to these sorts of things?
And there's different levels of it too, because like through one of them we see like an absolutely obsessed fan who is capable of violence to protect his girl that he idolizes. But then you get this other level, which is these other guys who will go to the events and they'll read the magazines about them. They will make commentary on them. They will talk about them in fairly disparaging ways. And they've got this whole kind of thing of like, oh, well, yeah, she used to be great. Or she used to be fucking whatever, but now she's just a slut or whatever. And you're like, oh, right. Okay. Wow. There's different levels of toxicity. And it ranges from people who don't give a fuck, who are just there to just make a mess, to people who are utterly obsessive and mentally really, really unwell.
Also,
what a fun time.
There's a great introduction to something which people may not have heard of during this film. It's this thing called the internet. It's a it's a brand new system where you can find your idol and go to a fan page run by fans about that person's thing, and you can do that, and you just have to use your mouse.
Yeah, you go to this thing called GeoCities, and you set up your own homepage.
And I know the mouse is very complicated,
but if you put autoplay music on your page, you are dead to me.
Yeah.
I love that this was like in the earliest days of the internet, where it's like we are pre-MySpace, we are pre any of that shit.
Was it really cool? Was it called the internet in the film? I think it was called the World Wide Web.
Oh god.
The WWWs.
Yeah,
before that all got
having to learn to type in the actual URLs. Oh, what's a URL? It's too
Yeah, oh
hard.
my god, just like HTTP. I'm like, wow.
blowing my mind.
But also, I love that even at that stage, like, nearly 30 years ago, we're into the same stuff that we're into here today. We're talking about cyber stalking. We're talking about cyberbullying. We're also talking about the impression, impersonating a celebrity and pretending to be those people. And you're like, what the fuck is up with that?
I'm not meaning to be disparaging. I just remembered something that I thought was quite funny. Remember when she got sent a threatening fax? Oh, a fax is coming through. Very slowly printing out a tag. It's like the good old days where it's like, oh, someone has sent me a letter. Yeah. It's a pictograph of someone's ankle. Ooh, risque.
Man, I remember going to the library and waiting for 10 minutes for a picture to load.
Yeah. I mean, like, this was the kind of era. So, like, I found it a fascinating film because it played with so many complicated and interesting themes that I think it was way ahead of its time.
Oh my God.
Of being told through this space, like through this medium, through this space.
30 years on and we're still having the same conversation.
Sure.
Like...
Yeah. And but now we're far more aware of the idea. It's like, oh, cyberstalker. Okay.
And now it's even worse. Like, I mean, the ability to do that and create those parasocial relationships and have band interactions is worse because of the internet's prevalence.
Social media.
Yeah. Well, and think about that. This is before social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is in a space where somebody had to go to a website and update it each day. To then pretend to be the voice of this person. And Casper in the chat just said something. The law's never ever really caught up to the tech, and there's a really great podcast I listened to that talks about the reason that tech keeps outstripping and outpacing laws is because the incentives are so much higher to keep going forwards. They don't want to be held by laws because the incentives are money. You keep paying money, you keep making money off people, then you'll keep going and you won't put those safety rails in place. So yeah, we're fucking 30 years behind the 8 ball. That's depressing anyway.
So should we talk about
what we liked about the film?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, look, mainly it's a really interesting situation where you're following Mima, who is a J-pop idol who decides to go into acting and tries to do what all kind of young starlet-ish people do. They tried to create a schism between the old persona and the new look that you see it in Hollywood all the time. The Hannah Montana to Miley Cyrus effect that you want to go through with that one. But in this, it shows the break not only as a media personality, but as in their own personality. Within that, including discussions of trauma, dissociative identity disorder, and like all of that kind of stuff that comes to it. So that's what I really kind of liked about it. And I felt like the trauma was interesting, and even though it was contextualized as to reasoning why, because it was servicing that television story, it was handled in such a great way because she opted into the scene that was confronting. She opted into the photography that was ultimately exploitative. She knew what she was doing. She was taking a part of that, but the trauma and the stuff still went on with it. And in the end, she's a very sympathetic character who I feel is destroyed by the idea of what she wants to become. And then you've got all the other stuff about stalking other people with dissociative identity disorder because it's a multi-layered one as you're watching it, and there's twists and turns. And in the end, I just kind of watched it. I was like, wow, that just is perfect,
Yeah.
and I feel blue by the end of it. I was kind of like, oh, that's fucking such a sad fucking story, and yet told in such a nice, cutesy animation, happy way. Where's my copy?
Until it's not.
Where's my copy of Paprika?
Yeah.
I'll go watch that again.
Yeah, I do think it's such a fascinating study of a psyche because she is, Dion, as you said, opting into all of these things to like better her career and try to push that forward. But like, at what cost is that having to her internally? Like,
Yeah.
it could be said that like women are pressured into doing these kind of things because the patriarchy. And it's like, well, girl, if you want to go far, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. But like, she could be just putting up a front and saying, yeah, I'll do that, yeah, I'll do that. But like, you internalize all that stuff that's happening to you. It could be a simulated rape scene, but it's still traumatizing. Like, that scene is so difficult to watch, even though you know it is staged and it's in animation. It's
exactly.
So amazingly performed.
And also, and those bits where like it takes you immediately out of it during parts where they pause it and they reset a camera angle and stuff, and you're like, and we're going again.
Yeah,
it's like,
and
oh,
the
God.
actors are talking to each other. And it's like, oh my God, yeah, thank you for putting up with this. Sorry, like this is really awkward.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, it's all right, whatever. I'm like, oh, girl.
And then later, just have a little breakdown. Fine.
Little menti bee.
Yeah, just have
a little menti bee. And there's even, I mean, something that I think we'll talk about when we get to the spoiler section, because there is some other stuff in there that I do feel like probably could be unpacked in a different way. But like there's the design work I find probably the most interesting, in that we're so used to anime having a particular design language. Like there are so many different types of anime. There is like what we saw last week, the shoujo, eye highlights, big hair, amazing, all that kind of stuff.
Sparkles everywhere.
And then you'll get something that's like Akira, where you get a much more sort of gritty, smaller characters with smaller eyes and different kind of face shapes. And then you get something like this that specifically sets out to say, we're going to be ugly when we want to be ugly. We're going to show characters who are really unattractive. And
also mess with you by making that same character in one scene look perfect and lovely, and in the next scene do something or be framed in such a way that they are not like that. Like, very smart directorial decisions in that animation.
Yeah. And then at the same time, they're playing off the tropes of anime and magical girl anime and everything by having this perfect meme sort of literally floating around through scenes, looking, like a perfect little idol fairy, basically, and subverting your expectations as well. Like, there are things that if you've watched a bunch of anime, that like you're never going to see nipples. You're never going to see anything more than that, because that's the trope of the magical sort of nudity or whatever. Nope. Here it's like, okay, we're playing it hard for realism, I think it's all done to shock you into knowing that this is realistic. These are not just plastic cartoon characters. These are people who will be stabbed and will be hurt and, are not superpowered in any way, shape or form.
Except for the hallucinogen Mima.
Yeah.
Is she is the hallucinated Mima, who's always perfect and always wearing the right dress and very happy and able to go through this, and nothing affects that one, which is always in a reflection, or stalking someone, or stabbing someone in the eye with an ice pick. Who fucking knows? All of these great things. I'm just very happy that they didn't go into the like demon tentacle porn side. Yeah, because I was kind of
do that next week if you like.
Yeah, why not?
What, in Batman Ninja versus Yakuza Clan or whatever it is? That's what we're doing next time.
Yes, so much Yakuza.
Anyway, do you guys want to talk anything more about it? Do you want to rate it and do a bit of spoilery chat?
I will mention. So I mentioned briefly about the Aronofsky thing. That you know, there's an amount of question as to whether or not he's literally ripping stuff off. But the interesting thing about it is he actually bought the rights to it.
Oh.
So I'm not sure whether he still holds them or not, but he bought the distribution rights to Perfect Blue so he could actually use a couple of shots from it and replicated them in Requiem for a Dream.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a sequence where Mima is in the bath and she her head's down in the bath and she screams. Literally composed the exact same shots for Requiem for a Dream.
Right.
And instead of just kind of repeating them, he wanted to pay rights and say, I am respecting the original creator of this and actually paying for it, but has never admitted that Black Swan has got anything in relation to it. And it's like, yeah, sure. But have you watched the two films?
Sure.
So would he have made those purchases post Satoshi Kon's death?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I'm not entirely sure when Requiem for a Dream came out.
Satoshi Kon passed in 2010.
It was, just way before that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he would have done it with a living Satoshi Kon, so...
Okay, interesting.
Well, does anyone want to rate this one?
Yeah, all right. I'm fucking going out there.
Go for it, Jill.
I haven't watched this in probably 20 years, which is crazy to fucking say. Like, it's an anime. So yeah, I was glad to have watched it again. And you know what? It still holds up. I still rate it. I would definitely recommend it with warnings, of course, because it's quite graphic. But there's just nothing bad about this movie. It has such fascinating discussions about mental health and the whole fucking idol culture. And if you're new to that, it's worth looking into because it is so bizarre and parasocial and toxic and crazy. But it's such a beautifully crafted film, and I think it just really sets a standard that you don't really see in Hollywood movies these days. So I'm going to give it a 95 because
nice.
I love this movie still.
Very interesting. Down numbers.
Look, I mean, I can't actually recommend the film for some of the content structure, but I can recommend the film, not for the content, but some of the content, not the structure. The structure is great. Look, it feels like it's a bit old and dated because it is old and dated. It was all hand drawn, but it is always very intentional. Every shot is constructed in a specific way. It goes out of its way to do small things to small side parts and other characters and even scenes of her bedroom and other places to make it unnerving and to make you doubt, to give you as the viewer who's watching the protagonist go through, make them an unreliable protagonist, all the while putting this kind of stuff out, and you're just worried about that person, and they are a full person because they're having all of these things that go on, and it feels dated because we're going to mention the internet as a new thing, or where do some of those things
use
come
Netscape
from? Yeah, like I'm holding up my handy cam to make sure I'm taking a recording of you. Yeah, like all of that kind of thing. But again, it's great. Like, I mean, if they remake, you can make a shot-for-shot remake and it would probably win award after award. But it's already been made. It's Perfect Blue. It's already done. It was made in 1995. Is it difficult to watch? Yes, I think that's because it's done a great job of making you sympathetic to all the characters. Because there's always a little bit of redemptive arc across every character. So I'd be up there with 90. But again, with the associated warnings, like probably don't chuck this one on a Sunday afternoon when your family's around because they may not be ready for it.
No.
Yeah. They'll be like, this is a fun one. The internet. Ha ha, whoa.
Yeah. I'm very much on board with both of you guys. I think it's saying really interesting things about different types of culture. It's the fact that it is still totally relevant kind of fucks with me a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
That, you know, here we are 30 years later, we still have unhealthy fan relationships, we have parasocial relationships. It's, if anything, it's just gotten worse. And it's done in such a way that the visual storytelling, so one of the reasons I think you choose to do something animated is because the visuals, that particular part of the storytelling is important. You need the freedom of what animation gives you. And this could be a live action film, but its decision to be animated is just the right call. It is beautifully done. It's something I would love to see, like a Blu-ray, like absolute pristine, clean version of it. The performances are across the board really impressive. And yeah, it's a film that I think people will get a massive kick out of, but not in a fun way. Like in the same way that you watch Requiem for a Dream, or you watch Gaspar Noé film or something like that.
Sure.
You know, it will really rock your fucking world. But because of how good it is and how well the storytelling is done, and how much you engage with the character, like, and therefore, as things go further and further and further, you're like, holy shit, I don't know where I am anymore, and you feel for that character all the more. It's spectacular. It's 95 from me as well, Jill. I'm like, nice. I really could not think of much to say other than I would love to see it cleaned up, high def. You know,
I gotta say, like, the one fault at the moment is it's very difficult to find on a streaming service.
It's criminally hard to find.
Yeah, it is criminally hard.
But not impossible, thanks to
the internet. That's true. I did find a 4K version, but
you found a 4K? Holy shit.
Still, this should be on a streaming platform.
Absolutely.
It's a shame that it's not in front of more eyes.
Yeah. Like, I look at it and I think that the classics of anime, you know, you go back, you can find a pristine version of Akira. You like, that's been upscaled, it's been 4K'd, it's been redone, you know, and cleaned up 100 times.
Time to start messaging the bulletin boards for an SVHS copy of it from another land. Is that what we're doing?
I would love to see that.
We're going to go to a clip and then we'll come back. And you said, Quinny, you had some more things you wanted to talk about.
I just had a couple of things I wanted to talk about.
In a bit of a spoilery section. So I know there's some people in the chat who haven't seen it and may not want to stick around for the spoilery thing. That's okay. Don't worry. This clip is mainly imagery heavy and not a lot of dialogue. This is one about the dual lives. So this is a part of Mima as she's, you know, kind of just hanging out on the train and things are starting to blur and she doesn't really know where she is or what day it is or whatever she's doing. So enjoy the imagery. Of course, there we go. Yes, the slow dissolve into regret and blurred lives between regular boring life and your old pop life, and yeah, it's fine.
I love that there's a point where she's working on the TV show Double Blind, and there are a couple of actors in that she's like so impressed with that they can be so comfortable and having a great time and then just drop straight into character immediately. And then throughout the rest of the film, there's this jumping between, is she in a character? Is she not in a character?
Yeah.
Is she real? Is she not? And I love the fact that there's so many themes that are running through it, and they're themes of voyeurism, and there's themes of aggression and themes of ownership, like the idea that somebody owns your image, and especially her. Does she own her own image?
Yeah,
it's
which is the life, like, I mean, the clip we just saw was about Mima, who's going through the motions of a regular life now. She's not the idol anymore, but she's thinking about it all the time. The time I used to be on stage and people used to cheer for me. Well, exclusively men, because it goes out of its way to show that the people who go to these things is just men. And some men are just weirdos and want to watch you and cheer for you, and other ones just get drunk and like to heckle you because that's what they do. And which is better?
Then there's a bunch of them who want to look at you naked and you know buy the sleazy magazines and all that gross shit.
Yeah, and then you get a stalker who perhaps is being talked to by the real Mima, who needs you to kill the fake Mima. I need you to kill the Prime Minister of Micronesia. Which is a flippant way of like a very dark subject.
Yes,
because like you also got to remember that there is a serial murderer at loose, like in like the real world.
Is there?
Or is there?
Or is there?
Or is
and
it
that's the thing I
hallucination?
wanted to talk about. Like, because we're deep, we're right in spoiler section. We're all good with that.
There's a spoiler. Okay, that's fine.
So there's a point in the film where the murders start happening, and you suddenly are thrown this thing of going, oh shit, hang on, is it actually Mima who is committing the murders? And is she going out and stabbing these people? And then there's a part where the narrative of the TV show,
exactly, it's like, or is she projecting what's happening in the television series into her life?
Yeah,
exactly.
Or is that actually, there's no TV series? And is it in fact that she is somebody who has been sexually assaulted on a stage and has now completely
disassociated?
And reverse engineered an entire history for herself that is her as a TV star, and all of this is just TV and it's not real, and she could also be an idol, but maybe she's not. Maybe she's somebody who wanted to be those things and was assaulted, and I was watching it going, fuck me.
But the thing I want to know is, are all the fish really dead? Because that's the whole thing too. She's feeding fish.
And like, has she made up the stalker? Has she made up her manager? Like, do those people exist? Are they projections of her imagined reality? Like, was it really her that she was fighting herself, or was it the manager? Like, you just still don't know.
Was she even in a 3-girl K-pop band, or was it just her? Or J-pop band. Like, it goes out of its way to provide you with, like, it gets more and more interesting as the narrator becomes more and more unreliable as we're going through, until the end, when you find out there was a twist, and that's kind of what it is. And then, of course, right at the end, it decides to just throw that to the fucking, dogs again at the end, with the last shot of her looking in the mirror going, no, I'm the real one. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's
what
like,
the fuck, man?
It's also like Inception, where, the final scene where he spins the top and you never get to find out if the top kept spinning or if it fell. And so you're just kind of left with this
It's great.
oblivious ending.
And is she like that's the thing that I thought
So
was
oblivious.
so what I thought was so interesting is that she is either a serial murderer because of past trauma, or she's a victim of a identity thief who's trying to subvert and supplant her because they want that life, and it never actually tells you which one is the real narrative. And that's kind
I
of
think that's just what is so juicy about this movie, is that it gives you like 5 different scenarios and never actually tells you which one was real.
Yeah. There's a plausibility factor because it keeps moving through, and like I mean, I've read a couple of those, like deep dives, explainers that it went in there, and I was kind of like, yeah, but I mean, that's kind like I mean. One of the ones I liked most actually was one that said like, "Oh, wait for the flash." There's always a transitional flash when like of just a white screen. That either it's a reflection of something like a train goes past, or the window closes, or a car headlight comes through, and that's the signifier of the change of personality.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, interesting. That's kind of good. So you can go back and watch it. So this is kind of why I was like, oh, Perfect Blue. I'm going to watch this. It's highly rated. Oh, this is confronting as fuck. But oh, wow, this is actually really, really good. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in here, but it's good.
Yeah. And the rhyming couplets of scenes too that, the weird stalker guy who...
Me-mania.
Yeah, shows up in the backgrounds of things, but then is probably a stalker. But then you put him alongside the person who may have been going out of their way to try to. And I know we're in spoilers here, but I still feel like I don't want to give away too much. But like the fact that the animation is so specific about body types as well. Is really interesting. That Mima's body type is not always what the alternate version of her is, and is it this person? Is it not this person? Like, it's so, as I was saying in the break, it's so fucking cinematic. Like, it's doing so much with its visual language that it wants you to. It fucking challenges you. Look away, motherfucker! I dare you, because you're gonna miss something, and you're gonna get a totally different story. And the fact that this 30 fucking years old or near enough just kicks my ass.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are great films from Hitchcock and all those kind of directors and stuff out there that are much older, whatever. This. Yeah, I don't know. You could have released this now and just a couple of tweaks to the communication methods, update your internet stuff.
Yeah. Make it a social media account rather than like a homepage.
But don't leave it existing as it is, because I feel like that's the thing that hits us straight away. It was like, yeah, we're still talking about the same shit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what Quinny's point was, is that it's still relevant today.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ, last year we watched Smile too, which, was kind of cut from the same piece of cloth.
And really loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm too old.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm actually, Dion, while I was watching it, I'm like, Jesus, fuck, man. I wasn't expecting this, and I'm feeling kind of a little violently overwhelmed by the film, and there was a part of me that was like, Dion, what have you done?
I fell into it. Absolutely accidental. It's kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard, and I hit one and I was like, oh wow, bullseye.
And then afterwards I was like, I'm really glad I watched it. Like super glad that I watched it. And because I guarantee you, back in the day, back in 97, whatever, this would have been one of those things that people kind of talked about, shared in their anime clubs, but as much as anything else, it would have been like her animated boobs.
Yeah.
Like there's that thing that, like, when anime was sort of making the way over to the UK and everything, it was very much about adult content, but animated. Manga
Yeah.
entertainment was all about, oh, look at this lascivious stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shocking. So I guarantee you that there'd be a lot of people who were looking at this just going, oh, and not really understanding half of what's going on.
And more
Yeah,
for
but they
them.
would have been cutting through to those scenes. Like they wouldn't have been
Mhm.
skipping over the actual content. But at the same time, I think, I think there were taste levels to weebs back then. And I don't think it was like people knew what hentai was. And so they were seeking that out. They weren't watching like art house anime to see boobs,
No, this one would
There
definitely
was
have.
specific content just for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Des Mangan would have been fine putting this on SBS.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
worried about going, oh, the censors will go. It's like, no, this is an art house film. It's
Yeah.
it's good.
And that's it. It feels very much at home on SBS on a Saturday night. Like
100%.
the kind of thing that you would have watched, and if you were
Like, I'm pretty
older-
sure it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it
Um,
was.
Like I now want to Google it and find out.
Oh.
And so I should.
Right. Anything else about Perfect Blue? Go see it. It's not a perfect film, but it's a good film.
Mhm. I mean,
I'd say
go
it's
see
great.
it
It's a
if you
great film.
can.
Yeah.
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 I
People can find it.
and
I
to
have
say
faith in our audience.
The only version I could find was the English one,
No.
and I will tell you, some of those songs are fucking terrible.
Oh God.
Like, I was looking at it, and I found a version and I was like, oh, okay, sweet, and was getting ready to because I knew it was a good film. I was like, I'm gonna put my phone aside. I'm not gonna cook while I do this. I'm actually going to watch the fucking film properly.
Right. And you still
And I was
watched
like,
a fucking dub.
Where's my shit?
You should have gone
not
harder then.
happy.
You should have watched the dub and then put on the Japanese subtitles and
There were no
translated
fucking
them yourself.
subtitles. Like the file I got had no subtitles and had no Japanese audio. I was like,
Oh damn.
me.
I'll send you a link for a better one.
thank you.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Just before we go, because we're about out of time. What anything else coming up this week that you're excited for apart from next week? What are we doing next week? Quickly,
Oh,
The finale of The Last of Us.
it's the last.
shit.
Oh, yeah,
It's the last of the Last of Us.
it's the Last of Us. Is it? No, it's not the finale
Yes,
next
it
week.
is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
short
it
season.
is. Yes, it is.
Super short season.
Yep.
Are they doing another season?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
the story is
yeah.
definitely not at the end point.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview with Craig Mazin recently, who was like, "Yeah, we can do seasons as long as we feel like, and this particular season needed to only be 7 episodes." And I was like, "Motherfucker!"
I've been listening to the podcast and they were like, we're not going to sacrifice our storytelling for the sake of, are we going to get another season and just like shove stuff in? So we're going to draw it out. But no, they have been renewed for 4 seasons, I think.
4?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought they only got 3. I really.
I don't
That
know.
right.
Well, in the podcast, they
Mm.
were saying, season 3 or season 4. And I'm like, ooh, did they get 4? Maybe they did.
Ooh. Well, if
Holy
they can
shit.
give freaking Game of Thrones 8 and then make a sequel that's a prequel and then make a sequel to the prequel, which is another prequel.
Oh, Casper says he heard 4 seasons as well.
Holy shit! That's a
Right.
that's a weird choice because the game's very limited.
Yeah, but they've been chopping stuff up all over this season that hasn't been like lineal to the
True.
game, so they could do whatever they want.
They yeah, absolutely they can. Yeah, it's an interesting choice, and like thus far they have been keeping very tightly to the game pacing. So I've been like, oh, okay, interesting.
Casper, that's an understatement, bro.
Yeah,
It's been phenomenal. I cried last episode.
I haven't watched this week's yet. I've been waiting until I can watch it with my lovely partner.
I've just been waiting and waiting until I can watch the last final Mission Impossible film, which I haven't got around
Oh
to yet.
no! Oh, I
No,
got a text from Mum today. She said her and Dad went and saw it. She said it was so good. I'm like,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
but you like slop, so.
Yeah.
Yes. Feed little piggies.
I have been so completely unenthused by watching this last one. I can't remember a single thing that happened in the previous film.
It was so ridiculous.
He
That's
yeah,
all you
Rode a
need to know.
motorbike off a cliff and then paraglided down onto
That's
a
all
train.
I remember. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember about the film. I
And-
think there was some kind of key that looked like a cross. I
And
don't know.
Captain Britain was
Oh,
in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Had to put the two keys together to make them make a key. I don't know.
yeah.
They haven't made a
fucking
mega key.
cares?
Blah blah, fucking blah.
Who fucking
Stunts.
cares?
Stunt.
Yeah.
Stunt.
Stunts.
Now it's
yeah,
time.
I
Scene,
don't
scene,
care
scene,
about
stunt. Scene, scene,
Yeah.
scene, stunt.
Mm.
Stunt in a
Um,
scene.
I will say something that's come out in the last couple of days that is quite a lot of fun. The new series of Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh,
Yeah, is on Netflix at the moment. I've watched a couple of them, and as per usual, they're fucking crazy. First one I watched is just a live performance of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but they're animated as if they were marionette puppets.
oh,
It's very strange, but that's kind of Love, Death, and Robots for you. It's just like, yep, cool, okay.
Love Death and
whatever.
Robots' art project.
Mm. I do think. Are we going to talk about like the full wrap up of Andor at some point, Dion?
Well, I mean, anime is soon to close, and then we can go on to the June selection, and perhaps, I mean, I don't know, if you want to, that's fine, but I think I've been gonked enough recently to just go, shut the fuck up about Andor, man.
No, I don't want to shut the fuck up about
it's
Only-
Andor.
good.
Only
It's a
if
good
we can
ending.
do season, like the end of Andor, like all of Andor season 2, and then talk about Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yep.
Yeah, because
Is that
as soon
okay?
as I finished
Mhm.
those last 3 episodes, I
Did you go back and watch
Rogue
Rogue One?
100%.
Yeah, right,
And you
100%.
know what? I hated it when I first saw it, but now I have such a better appreciation for that movie.
I
was-
will. If
it
we
was
are going to
always
talk
good.
about this properly, I'll hold back on all my thoughts on it. But
Sure.
100%, Jill. 100%.
Sure.
Andor actually changes that film.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes it a different film, and that's pretty
Yeah.
fucking incredible.
Mm.
And do you think it made it good or gooder or lesserer?
Oh, Goodera.
Gooder,
Or gooder.
100%. Like if it does. I've written many things on the internet because currently on Threads I'm like Andor fucking yeah type.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we do like in June we do a Last of Us season 2 wrap up and an Andor season 2 wrap up.
Yes.
Yeah, I like this.
Mm.
Let's go. Apocalypse Daddy and Space Uncle?
Space. Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
call him
We already have a
Space
Space
Uncle.
Daddy, but he could be the uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
could be Space Uncle. Cassian. Cassa.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. all right.
I mean, I don't know whether everybody's getting sick of us doing wrap ups of TV shows or not.
There's just so many wrap ups.
I
There's been a lot
know.
of
Can we?
content,
What
though.
if we do a wrap up in the style of rap?
Oh no.
No,
we have to wrap the show. No. Okay, we just.
Hey, we've been doing something very different this month.
Mm,
So,
we
Yeah.
have been talking
you know,
anime.
We mixed it up.
Yeah, we did like a new anime and a classic one we've just finished, and now,
Now
Quinny,
we're gonna watch a goddamn awful anime.
next week, Quinny, what are we reviewing?
We are reviewing, and I've got to find the exact title because I don't want to fuck it up because it is dumb. Where is it? It is Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League. So not
Oh,
Justice League,
no.
Yakuza League.
Oh dear.
So
So
yeah.
we did a newer anime, a classic
We
anime,
did a good one, a great one, and
and
yeah,
in an
the
American
bad
whatever
and
the
the
fuck this-
ugly.
this, yes.
and an
100%.
American interpretation of what an anime is.
and
I know,
not
it's-
even as good as like the Animatrix either.
No, I mean it is done by a Japanese company. It is in Japanese. It is like it's an anime. It just happens to be using American characters and designs. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sure. I have a yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Come back
Mhm.
next week, and while we look at that one, can't wait for that one.
See, this is why we haven't been getting the numbers that we normally get. Because we're not enthused. Come on back for Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League.
Yeah.
If you like the Batman Ninja, which 5 of you did, then you'll love Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League.
Yep.
Probably.
Fantastic. All right. And thanks for everyone joining us in the chat. You've been great, and hopefully we've convinced you to go and see Perfect Blue in like a...
100%. Like if you can find it,
being
go watch
arty.
it.
Yeah, and we'll do that. And again, if there's anything you want us to review, let us know. Has there something we've missed?
Yeah, what other shows do you want us to wrap up?
We could wrap the shit out of so much TV.
Yes, we will wrap the shit out of all the TV. But until then, we're going to go now and have a good, fun rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Next Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. Deep-powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have him teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. With martial arts from Iron Fist and Wall, I'll dap her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out Avengers Assemble, not